The front door creaked as I pushed it open. She walked in first, kicked off her heels by the mat like always, phone already in hand before her coat hit the rack. I followed, a step behind, slower. Something felt unreal. My mind was still trying to process it, still stuck back on that sidewalk when I saw the message light up her screen. We had just left Melissa's place. She'd been laughing too loud, pretending her wine buzz was cuter than it was, hugging everyone goodbye like a local celebrity. On the walk home, we were quiet. Not the comfortable kind. I asked her if she had fun, and she gave me a generic, yeah, it was fine. Then she asked if I could stop and grab oat milk tomorrow. That was the conversation. That was all. Until I saw it. The message. A flicker of a notification, Travis sweat droplets. Yeah. That emoji. Right next to his name. It could have been nothing. I told myself that. I told myself a lot of things in the 10 seconds before the next message came in. The screen lit up again and my eyes caught the top of the preview. Just the beginning. Just enough to drop a grenade in my chest. I miss how you looked when you were on A. She tilted her phone away. Locked the screen with her thumb so quick it was like a reflex. Then she kept walking like nothing happened. Like I wasn't right there. Like I hadn't seen it. And the worst part? She knew I saw it. That's what broke me more than the words. The fact that she didn't even bother to lie in that moment. She just decided to pretend I was blind. Like it was easier to ignore me than to explain. We walked the rest of the way in silence. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Not even hurt. I was numb. Like my brain was trying to figure out how something this normal could suddenly be laced with poison. Now I stood there in our apartment, watching her move through the kitchen with all the grace of someone whose world hadn't just changed. She poured a glass of water. Took a long sip. Looked up at me over the rim of the glass like I was some delivery guy who overstayed his welcome. You okay? She asked. Her voice. Casual. Just that. You okay? I stared at her. At her face, the same one I'd memorized 1,000 times, every freckle, every dimple in her cheek when she smiled. I didn't answer. My throat was a closed fist. You're being weird, she added. I opened my mouth. Closed it. Then said slowly, who's Travis? She blinked. That was the first crack in her perfect performance. Just a quick blink, then her face reset. Just a friend. Chill. I said nothing. I didn't need to. She turned away from me then, started walking toward the hallway like she was done with the conversation. That's when I followed. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't touch her. Just stepped in front of her, blocking her path to the bedroom. Who is he? She groaned. Groaned. Like I was asking her to take the trash out. Oh my God, seriously? You're doing this now? Yeah, I said. My voice felt like sandpaper. Right now. Who is he? She crossed her arms. He's a guy I met through Mel. He's been through some stuff. He's just sweet, okay? He texts me sometimes. He misses how you looked when you were on him. I snapped. That sound like a sweet text to you? That was when it changed. Her face, her whole posture. She didn't deny it. Didn't apologize. She didn't cry or beg or say it was a mistake. She laughed. A short, sharp laugh. Almost like she pitied me. Well, maybe if you paid attention for the last 6 months instead of hiding in your ing emails and spreadsheets every night, I wouldn't need someone else to make me feel wanted. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. 6 months. That's what she said. 6 months. And just like that, it all clicked. The late showers. The sudden interest in yoga. The constant phone tilting. Her coldness after being warm. The change didn't come overnight. It crept in. It slipped between us like smoke under a door. And I let it. I didn't even feel angry yet. Just hollow. I stood there while she brushed past me, grabbed her phone off the counter, and went into the bedroom without looking back. The door shut behind her. That was night one. The start of it all. I didn't sleep that night. The bedroom door stayed shut. I could hear her moving behind it, closet doors opening, drawers sliding, the occasional tap-tap of her phone. She wasn't crying. She wasn't pacing. She wasn't even trying to make things look okay. No. Emily was calm. Methodical. Like this was some scene she'd already rehearsed 100 times in her head. I slept on the couch, if you could call it that. I laid there staring at the ceiling in the dark while that message played on repeat in my skull. I miss how you looked when you were on. I didn't even need the full sentence. My brain filled in the blanks just fine. My imagination built the scene she never bothered to hide. Travis. I didn't know anything about him, what he looked like, how she met him, how far it went, but in that moment, I hated him with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Not because he existed, but because she let him exist. Because he got a version of her that used to be mine. Morning came, but it didn't feel like a new day. Just a continuation of the same nightmare. She came out of the bedroom around 7 a.m. fully dressed. Tight jeans, hair brushed straight, lipstick already on. She didn't even look at me on the couch. "Don't you have work?" she asked, like nothing had happened. I sat up. My back ached from the lumpy cushions. My mouth felt dry. "Emily, we need to talk." She sighed. That same sigh again, like I was a burden. Like my pain was inconvenient to her schedule. "No, you need to talk. I've already said what I needed to say." "You didn't say anything," I replied, standing. "You blamed me and then locked yourself in the room." She finally turned to face me. Arms crossed. One eyebrow raised like I was some disappointing customer at a counter. "What do you want me to say, Ryan? That I'm sorry? That I made a mistake and I'll never do it again?" I stared at her, waiting. She didn't blink. "Well, I'm not. I'm not sorry. And I'm not pretending like you didn't see this coming." That hit me like a good punch. Not because it was new, but because it wasn't. I had seen it coming. I'd seen it in the way she stopped laughing at my jokes. In the way she always kept her phone face down. In the way she started dressing up to go grocery shopping. But I ignored it. I made excuses for her. For us. "Are you in love with him?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer right away. She just looked at me with that same blank face, then finally shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe. I feel more alive with him than I have with you in over a year." There it was. The kill shot. Clean and surgical. Like she'd been saving that line. My hands were shaking. I didn't even realize it until I saw my fingers curled tight into fists. My whole body felt like it was vibrating with something between grief and rage. "I gave you everything," I said, my voice low. "I've worked myself sick trying to build a life for us. I've been loyal, patient, and you throw it away for a guy who sends you. Who actually wants me," she cut in sharply. That silence afterward? That was the kind of silence you don't forget. Not because it's empty, but because it's so full of everything you can't say. She grabbed her bag, slipped on her shoes, and headed for the door. "I'll be back tonight," she said. "Don't do anything stupid." The door closed behind her, and I stood there in my own living room, in my own house where nothing felt mine anymore. I didn't move for a long time. Just stood still, letting the echo of that door slam hang in the air. It didn't feel like heartbreak yet. It felt like humiliation. And I knew deep down this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The clock read 11:42 a.m. when I finally picked up her laptop. She left it open on the desk in the corner of the living room, the same spot where she used to sit with her tea and work on spreadsheets and Pinterest boards for imaginary home renovations we never started. It sat there now like a relic of a fake life. I hesitated. My hand hovered over the trackpad for a full minute before I gave in and opened the screen. It was already on. No password. Just open tabs staring at me. Gmail. Facebook. Uber. Airbnb. Airbnb? My stomach twisted. I clicked the tab. It was still signed in under her account and a reservation page was open. My heart dropped as I read the listing. Downtown loft, cozy private stay for 2. 3 nights. Check-in this coming Friday. 2 guests. The message thread with the host made it clear. It wasn't a solo getaway. Emily had asked about nearby romantic spots and specifically requested early check-in so she and her partner could freshen up before dinner. Partner. That word hit me harder than any profanity or slur she could have used. It was cold. Clinical. A business label slapped on top of a betrayal. The reservation was paid in full. I scrolled down and saw the profile picture of the other guest added to the itinerary. The little circular icon loaded slowly like the system knew I wasn't ready for it. It was a selfie. A guy, late 20s. Smirking. Shaggy blonde hair, that kind of fake casual bedhead that takes 20 minutes and 3 hair products. Tatted forearm. Aviators on his head. Shirtless. So this was Travis. This was the guy who made my wife feel alive. I closed the laptop. Hard. The room felt like it was spinning. My ears buzzed. I walked to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face. Looked at myself in the mirror. And for the first time in years I didn't recognize the man looking back at me. My eyes looked dull. Like someone who'd been slowly drowned in a life he didn't know was sinking. I had become invisible in my own marriage. A background character while she crafted a new storyline with some gym rat who called her babe and probably sent her Spotify playlists. That night she came home late. Not drunk. Not disheveled. Just late. I was waiting in the kitchen. Lights off, only the soft glow from the oven clock behind me. She stepped inside, shut the door, paused when she saw me sitting there. "Oh," she said. "Didn't know you were still up." I saw the Airbnb, I said calmly. The downtown loft. Real cozy. Great reviews. She didn't blink. She didn't even flinch. So? That one word sent a jolt through my chest. Like static before a storm. So? I repeated, stunned. That's your response? I'm not going to argue with you every night, Ryan. If you want to keep digging through my stuff, go ahead. But don't expect me to stand here and cry about it. You planned a weekend with him. Yes, she said. Cold. Firm. And I'm going. Silence. I swear even the appliances stopped humming. I stood slowly. My legs felt weak, but I kept my voice steady. Do you want a divorce? She looked at me, eyebrows slightly raised like I'd asked if she wanted Thai or Mexican for dinner. I don't know yet. That's what she said. I don't know yet. I laughed. A quiet, bitter sound that surprised even me. What do you need to figure out? I asked. Whether Travis likes your cooking. Whether he'll put up with your moods longer than I did. Her expression finally shifted. Anger. But not shame. Not guilt. Contempt. You're pathetic, she said, stepping past me. You didn't care about any of this until someone else did. Then she disappeared into the bedroom. I stayed there, in the kitchen, frozen. Not angry. Not even sad. Just done. Something in me shut off that night. Not like a switch, more like a door that sealed itself from the inside. Quiet. Final. Whatever part of me still held onto us died right then. And the man who sat at that kitchen table under the weight of betrayal didn't cry. He started planning. I didn't go to work the next day. I told my boss I had food poisoning. He barely asked questions. I'd been the dependable one for so long that disappearing once didn't raise alarms. But I wasn't sick. Not in the way he thought. I sat at the kitchen table from 8 a.m. until the sun dipped behind the blinds, laptop open, notepad beside me, pen tapping against the wood like a metronome. I was trying to understand. Trying to map it. How long had it really been going on? Who knew? Did Melissa know? Did her parents? Did anyone try to tell me and I just missed it? I dug through emails. She wasn't smart about hiding things, no burner accounts, no deleted folders. Just brazen. Like she wanted to get caught. Like she'd convinced herself I wouldn't do anything even if I did find out. There were receipts. Calendars. Screenshots I wish I could unsee. One email thread with a subject line that read, "Need you. Tonight." Another, "Same hotel. Same room? You still taste like honey." I read every word with a face like stone, the same way you'd read an autopsy report. And then I found the photo. She hadn't meant to save it, maybe it was sent to her desktop by accident. It was buried in a random folder with receipts and some PDFs for her work presentation. It was taken in a mirror. Travis behind her, shirtless, his arms around her waist, chin resting on her shoulder. Her smile in the reflection, it wasn't the one she gave me. It was younger. Freer. The kind of smile that made me feel like I was looking at a stranger. But the worst part? She was wearing my hoodie. The gray one I thought she had lost. I slammed the laptop shut so hard it echoed off the walls. I wanted to punch something. Break something. My own hand, maybe. But all I did was sit there, the room spinning, air thick like wet cotton. I pressed the heels of my palms into my eyes and tried to breathe. Emily came home early. She smelled like his cologne. I didn't say anything right away. She walked past me, into the kitchen, opened the fridge like she lived here without a trace of shame. Then I asked, softly, "Was that your plan all along?" She paused. Looked over her shoulder. "What?" "This," I gestured vaguely around us. "Keeping me around until you were sure he wanted you?" She rolled her eyes and pulled out a bottle of kombucha. "God, you're still on this?" "Still on this." Like I was hung up on a weather forecast. "You didn't answer me," I said, standing. She turned, leaned against the counter, unscrewed the cap slowly. "I didn't plan anything, Ryan. Things happened. People change. Maybe I needed someone who didn't come home smelling like a printer and talking about Excel." "You mean someone who calls you babe and takes mirror selfies while grabbing your ass?" I said, the heat rising in my throat. That got to her. Her jaw tensed. "I liked who I was with him," she said, quieter now. "He made me feel seen." "You stop looking at me, Ryan. I was just wallpaper in this house." "No," I replied, shaking my head. "You became wallpaper. You gave up. You decided I was boring, and instead of talking to me, you slipped out the back door and landed on Travis." She sipped her drink like I wasn't even in the room. "So what now?" I asked. "Are you going to keep living here while you play girlfriend downtown on weekends? You want me to cook dinner for you both when you get home?" She shrugged. "I don't know. I haven't decided what I want yet." That sentence. That was the crack that let the flood in. I stared at her, then calmly walked into the bedroom. I grabbed a single suitcase. Packed only my essentials. Work clothes. Laptop. Chargers. Left the books and the mugs and the stupid framed photo from our honeymoon in Santa Fe. When I walked back out, she was scrolling on her phone. She didn't even ask where I was going. I'll be staying with Connor, I said. He already said I could crash. Cool, she mumbled. That was it? No, please don't. No, let's talk. Not even a goodbye. Just, cool. As I stepped out the door with my bag slung over my shoulder, I looked back one last time. She still hadn't looked up. And in that moment, I realized something. She didn't care that I was leaving. Because somewhere along the way, she had already left. Connor opened the door in gym shorts and a hoodie, his hair still damp from a shower. He took one look at my face, stepped aside, and said, "Guest room's made. You want to talk, or you want a beer first?" I took the beer. We sat in silence on his balcony, a thin April breeze cutting through the city air. He didn't ask right away, and I didn't offer. I just stared out at the skyline like it might spell out the answers I still didn't have. Finally, I said, "She's been cheating on me." He didn't say, "No way," or "Are you sure?" He just nodded slowly like he already knew. Or had seen it coming before I did. I told him everything. The messages. The Airbnb. Travis. Her cold, flat voice. The photo. The smell of someone else's cologne on her skin when she walked in like it was just Tuesday. Connor didn't interrupt. He just listened, occasionally running a hand down his face like the second-hand disappointment was too much to carry. When I was done, he said, "You're handling it better than most would." "I'm not," I said. "I'm just too tired to scream." And I meant it. My anger had cooled into something more dangerous. Something heavier. Something that sat in my chest like wet cement. I wasn't just betrayed, I was discarded. Quietly. Casually. Like I was the extra fork in a drawer she didn't need anymore. The next few days passed in a fog. I worked remotely from Connor's place. Ate when he made me. Slept in pieces. Woke up drenched in sweat more than once. Sometimes I'd check her Instagram just to see if she'd posted anything. She hadn't. That almost hurt worse. Like she didn't even feel guilty enough to fake remorse. On day 4, Melissa texted me. "Hey. I know it's not my place, but I think you should know she's staying with Travis this week. Like, living there." I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get involved, but it's getting gross. That was the word she used. Gross. It sat ugly in my chest for hours. And then I made the mistake of going to see it for myself. I didn't mean to. I didn't have a plan. But around 9:30 that night, I drove downtown, parked 2 streets over, and walked until I found the address from the Airbnb listing. The lights were on. Her shadow passed across the window. She was laughing. I could hear it from the sidewalk. That high, careless sound I hadn't heard in our house for months. Travis appeared behind her. I couldn't see much, just the shape of him, tall, shirtless, arms wrapped around her waist while she stirred something on the stove. They looked like a damn toothpaste commercial. I stood there in the dark for maybe a full minute, watching the life she traded for mine. The version of herself she couldn't be with me. And I realized right there on that sidewalk, I wasn't just grieving her. I was grieving the idea of us. The version of our life I had kept alive in my head long after she'd stopped participating in it. I turned and walked away without letting myself look back. I got in the car, drove until I hit an empty gas station just outside the city limits, and sat there with the engine running, headlights aimed at nothing. That night I didn't cry. I wrote. 3 hours straight. Everything I'd wanted to say to her. Everything I'd swallowed. Every humiliating, quiet moment of trying to reach for someone who was already gone. I didn't send it. Not yet. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't waiting anymore. Not for her apology. Not for closure. Not for the next knife in the back. The part of me that needed her to care had finally snapped. And all that was left now was the version of me she never saw coming. I woke up the next morning with a headache that felt like it started somewhere behind my eyes and ended somewhere near my spine. Too much thinking. Too little sleep. But there was clarity now, sharp and cold. I didn't want her back. Let me say that again so I believe it. I didn't want her back. And yet, the weight of everything she took from me lingered. My peace. My trust. My dignity. Connor left early that day. He had a client meeting, said to help myself to anything in the fridge, and told me not to burn the place down. I laughed for the first time in days. Just a quiet exhale of breath that barely counted. But it was something. I sat down at the kitchen island with a coffee and opened my laptop. That letter I'd written the night before was still on the screen. The words raw, unedited, full of things that would have sounded pathetic if they weren't so brutally true. I deleted the whole thing. She didn't deserve a letter. She didn't deserve my story. But I still needed to act. So I called our bank. Then I called the property manager for our apartment building. Then I called a lawyer. 3 hours. That's how long it took to start untangling a marriage built on my effort and her exit strategy. My name was on everything. The lease, the car, the insurance. All her little freedoms were under my umbrella. And suddenly, I realized, she didn't just betray me emotionally. She was still living on my dime while playing house in some mid-rise loft with a guy who probably called her baby girl and used 2-in-1 shampoo. So I shut it down. I removed her from the shared card. I revoked her authorization on our joint accounts. I froze our Amazon login. And then, I scheduled a meeting with the landlord to remove her from the lease. Legally, I couldn't force her out without due process, but I could put the pressure on. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to make it inconvenient. And then I did one more thing. I called her mother. We hadn't spoken in months. Not because we didn't get along, we did. But because Emily didn't want me oversharing family matters. Now I knew why. She didn't want anyone to know what she was doing. When her mom picked up, I didn't tell her everything. Just enough. That Emily had been staying with someone else. That we were separating. That she might need some support because I was stepping back. There was a long pause on the other end. I had a feeling, her mother said softly. She's been distant with me, too. I'm sorry, Ryan. You've always been good to her. Too good. I thanked her and hung up. That evening, Emily texted me. Emily, why is the credit card declined? And why can't I log into Netflix? I stared at the messages. I could almost hear the indignation in her tone, the disbelief that her free ride was ending. So I replied, for the first time in days. Me? You wanted freedom. You got it. She didn't text back. Not that night. Not the next day. She was quiet now, and the silence felt like something I'd earned. But the storm hadn't passed. Because 2 days later, she came to Connor's door. No warning. Just a knock at 9:15 p.m. And when I opened it, she was standing there in a leather jacket, mascara already smudged, eyes glassy. Not from crying, but from rage. You really think cutting me off is going to fix this? She hissed. I didn't answer, just stepped outside, closed the door behind me. You don't get to punish me, she went on. You left. You ran away to your little friend's house and started playing the victim. I let her talk. I made a mistake. Okay? She snapped. Maybe more than one. But you can't just erase me from your life because of a few things I did wrong. A few. That word. That one word made my blood boil. I took a step forward. Calm. Controlled. You didn't make a mistake, Emily. You made 100 choices. You made them with your fingers and your mouth and your phone. You made them over dinners and weekends and lies I swallowed whole. She opened her mouth, but I didn't let her speak. I'm not angry because you cheated. I'm angry because you enjoyed it. Because you mocked me while you did it. Because you looked me in the eyes and told me I was crazy when I already knew. Her eyes filled, finally. But the tears weren't for me. They were for her. I don't know who you are anymore, she whispered. And I smiled. Just a little. I don't either, I said. But I like him a hell of a lot more than I ever liked being with you. Then I went back inside. Left her standing in the hall with her crocodile tears and her leather jacket and her dead phone battery. She didn't knock again. Not that night. Maybe not ever. The next morning I expected a message. A voicemail. Something, anything to follow that hallway confrontation. But there was nothing. Silence again. I spent the day waiting for a shoe that never dropped. Around noon, Connor came home early with 2 breakfast burritos and said, "You look like you're expecting a bomb to go off." I was. He nodded when I explained. She's probably regrouping. People like that don't process consequences right away. They freeze up when they lose control. And he was right. Because that night, she posted him. A picture of her and Travis on her Instagram. Caption, "New energy. New peace." I saw it while brushing my teeth. My phone buzzed with a notification. Melissa had tagged me in a comment with 3 fire emojis and a sarcastic, "Oh wow. Classy." I clicked and there it was. The photo was disgusting in its effort. Staged lighting. her curled into his side like a love-struck teenager. He was grinning with those perfect white teeth, and she was kissing his cheek, hand on his chest like a damn rom-com poster. And the worst part? She was wearing my hoodie again. I had left it in the hall closet. She must have taken it with her. The comments were a mess. OMG, you guys. You deserve happiness, M. Love wins. And then buried deep down, Melissa's. You mean new lies? But do you? That one stayed up for maybe 10 minutes before it disappeared. Probably deleted by Emily. But I screenshotted it anyway. I didn't respond. I didn't comment. I didn't text her. I waited. 2 more days went by. Then came the knock I had been expecting. Not Emily. Travis. He showed up to Connor's place like he was delivering a pizza, backward cap, smug smirk, hands in his hoodie pockets. The same hoodie she wore. My hoodie. You Ryan? He asked. I nodded. He smiled. Stretched his neck like a boxer warming up. Cool. Mind if we talk? I stepped outside. Closed the door behind me. You got a lot of nerve coming here, I said. He shrugged. I just want to clear the air, man. Air's already clear, I said. She lied. You believed it. End of story. Nah, see, that's the thing, he said, stepping closer. She didn't lie. Not to me. She told me you were already over. That you'd moved on. That she was just waiting for the right time to make it official. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. But I didn't speak. And then, he went on, you start freezing her out. Messing with her bank accounts. Turning her family against her. That's weak, bro. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The idea of this man-child calling me weak for finally pulling the plug on a sinking ship he helped drill holes into? You know what's weak? I said. Sneaking around behind another man's back. Wearing his clothes. Playing house in his shadow. His smirk faltered for half a second. Just a flicker. But I saw it. I didn't come to fight, he said. I just want you to stop trying to make her life hell. She's happy now. Let her be. She made my life hell, I replied. And I let her. For too long. Yeah? I'm just returning the favor. Calmly. Legally. With a smile. I took a step forward. Just one. You're not going to last, Travis. You'll get bored. She'll get cold. She'll start needing space. She'll find someone who calls her baby in a slightly different tone, and you'll be me. Standing outside, wondering how you missed the signs. He tried to laugh it off. Yeah, well, at least she picked me. And I really smiled this time. Keep the hoodie, I said. It'll fit your ego better than it ever fit me. Then I went inside and shut the door. Connor raised an eyebrow when I walked back in. That who I think it was? I nodded. He thinks he won. Connor tossed me a beer. Then let him keep thinking that. Nothing crashes faster than a fantasy paid for with someone else's dignity. That night, I slept. Deep. No dreams. No spinning thoughts. And when I woke up, something inside me had shifted. I wasn't mourning her anymore. I was mourning the version of me that tolerated her. The next week felt like a stretch of unfamiliar quiet, like walking through your own home after someone's stolen all the furniture. The noise was gone, but so was the shape of everything. I focused on logistics. Divorce paperwork had been drafted. I had my own bank account. I scheduled a meeting with the property manager to remove my name from the lease. Emily hadn't paid rent in 3 months anyway, I'd been covering it. I told the landlord that starting next month she was on her own. I didn't tell her. I let the letter from the leasing office do the talking. A few days later, Melissa called me. I didn't expect that. I almost didn't pick up. But I did. Hey, she said, voice low. I heard about Travis showing up. That really happened. Yeah, I said. He wanted to clear the air. Melissa snorted. God, he is such a tool. You know she told people you cheated on her? I froze. What? Yeah, she said. Apparently that's the story now. That you were emotionally unavailable, that you were texting a coworker, and that's why she drifted. Total fiction. That wasn't just lying. That was full-blown gaslighting the entire world. She wasn't just trying to escape the truth, she was rewriting it like a high schooler rewriting a book report she didn't read. I felt the heat rise again. But it was calmer now. More surgical. Like a blade kept sharp by control. She always said truth was just a version, Melissa added. I didn't get it back then. Now I do. She really say that? All the time. Used to laugh about it. I thanked her. Told her to take care of herself. Hung up. And then I sat there for a while, phone still in my hand, thinking about all the times Emily had smiled while lying straight to my face. The tears during arguments. The promises. That you're the only one I'd ever want. Turns out I was the only one who believed any of it. That night, something strange happened. I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. You destroyed everything we had over one mistake. I hope you're proud. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, another. I gave you the best years of my life. You think some legal move makes you right? Still, I said nothing. And then the third message. You're dead inside. That's why I left. You made me feel invisible. That one sat there on my screen, flashing quietly while I stared at it. I made her feel invisible? No. That's not what happened. What happened was she craved attention like air. And when mine wasn't loud enough, when it came in the form of loyalty and showing up instead of grand gestures and dopamine texts, she traded it in for Travis's brand of validation. I put my phone down. The next morning, I blocked the number. That same day, her mom called me again. Voice small, unsure. She came to stay with us, she said. Didn't say much. Just that you'd turned everyone against her. She looked empty. I didn't say anything at first. Just let the silence breathe. Then I said she turned herself into someone I don't recognize. And I'm done trying to remind her who she used to be. Her mom whispered, I'm sorry, Ryan. I believed her. After that, things moved quickly. The divorce papers went out. Official. Cold. Binding. Her signature came back the next week, no note attached. I heard from Melissa one more time, short and to the point. Melissa. They broke up. I don't know the details. She's a mess. Just thought you should know. I didn't ask for more. Didn't want it. Whatever disaster she walked into after setting fire to us. That was hers to sort through. I was done collecting the ashes. And for the first time in months, when I looked at my reflection in the mirror, I didn't see a fool. I saw a man climbing out of the wreckage. And this time I wasn't dragging her with me. The first time I truly felt free was stupid and small. I was at the grocery store, pushing a cart down the cereal aisle when I passed the shelf with her favorite granola, some overpriced gluten-free, sea salt, coconut-crusted brand she swore by but barely ate. I reached for it out of habit. Then I stopped. My hand hovered midair, fingers closing around nothing. And I realized I didn't need to buy it. I didn't need to think about what she liked, what she might be in the mood for, what comment she'd make if I brought home the wrong kind. There wasn't anyone waiting at home to raise an eyebrow. Or offer a backhanded thanks, I guess. It was just me. So I grabbed the cereal I liked instead. The one she always called childish. I stood there for a moment longer, fingers tapping the edge of the box, and laughed. Really laughed. Right there in front of the Raisin Bran and the Honey Nut Cheerios. Because it hit me, this was mine now. Every moment. Every choice. And she didn't own a single inch of it anymore. When I got back to Connor's, there was a package at the door. My name. No return address. I carried it inside, sliced it open. It was the hoodie. My hoodie. Washed. Folded. Neatly packed. No note. Just the fabric. Familiar. Still carrying the faint scent of something that wasn't mine, cheap cologne or maybe that awful coconut shampoo she used when she wanted to feel fresh and new. I didn't put it on. I didn't even keep it. I stuffed it back in the box, taped it shut, and dropped it in the donation bin by the strip mall that afternoon. Let someone else get some use out of it. That night, I opened a fresh doc on my laptop and started something new. Not a letter. Not a list of regrets. Not a breakdown of her lies. Something mine. I started writing about the day we met honestly. No rose-colored lens. No nostalgia. Just facts. The first time I saw her. The first time she manipulated a story to make herself look like the hero. The first time I caught her bending the truth about something small. All the things I'd labeled quirky or emotional or passionate. They were warnings. I just hadn't known how to read them. But I wasn't writing to send it. I was writing to remember. To remember how someone like her gets under your skin. How they wrap their chaos in charm. How they speak in mirrors and leave you doubting your own reflection. It was like therapy, except cheaper and more honest. I stayed up until 3 a.m. writing. And when I stopped, when I finally closed the laptop and shut off the lamp beside the couch, I felt light. Like something had been surgically removed from me without pain. Just absence. No ache. No longing. Just space. A few days later, Connor came home from work, dropped his bag, and said, "So what's next?" And for the first time in months, I had an answer. "I'm moving out," I said. "Got a place. Signed the lease today." He grinned. "Downtown?" "Not even close," I said. 30 minutes out. Quiet. Cheap. No foot traffic. Plenty of trees. He raised an eyebrow. "You planning to grow tomatoes or something?" "I'm planning to be alone for a while," I said. And for once, that sounds like peace. Not punishment. He didn't argue. Didn't need to. Because he could see it too, the change. I was shedding the skin she had wrapped around me. Layer by layer. Lie by lie. Smile by forced smile. And underneath? I was still here. Scarred. But unowned. And for the first time in a long time I didn't care where she was. Who she was with. What lies she was telling now. Because I was no longer part of her story. She was just a footnote in mine. The day the divorce was finalized, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel broken either. I felt still. It was raining that morning. Not heavy, just that slow, steady kind of drizzle that makes everything look washed out and honest. I sat in my car outside the courthouse with the final papers in the passenger seat and signed it. The kind of moment you'd think would be big. Loud. Something with thunder or a dramatic soundtrack playing in the background. But it wasn't. Just a quiet moment. A man. A pen. And the realization that a chapter wasn't ending. It had already ended. All I was doing now was turning the page. So I signed. Took a photo of the confirmation screen on my phone. Sent it to my lawyer. Then deleted it from my gallery 5 seconds later. I didn't need to keep a trophy. Later that evening, I went back to my new place, small one-bedroom, wood floors, a window that let the sunlight in like it owed me something. I unpacked one box at a time. Cooked for myself. Watched a dumb action movie with the volume a little too high. And then I did something I hadn't done in months. I slept in my own bed. Alone. Not lonely. There's a difference. The first few weeks in the new place were strange. Beautiful, but strange. I'd reach for 2 plates by instinct. Start sentences with "we should," then cut myself off. Muscle memory doesn't fade fast, even when the muscles were used for holding a ghost. But I started filling the space. A bookshelf I'd wanted for years. A thrifted chair she would have hated. Art that made me feel something. I filled the silence with music, stuff I loved but never played out loud because she said it gave her a headache. Yeah? The house was full of it. Every note, every guitar string, every word that had once been filtered now played in full volume. A few months passed. She didn't call. Didn't text. I saw her name once, tagged in someone's story. She was laughing in a group of people I didn't know. I watched for 3 seconds, then scrolled away. It didn't hurt. Not anymore. Because I'd finally gotten it. Not in some dramatic flash, not in some therapy office or poetic quote online. I got it while drinking coffee on a Sunday morning, watching steam rise from the mug. I had spent so much of my life trying to be enough for someone who didn't even know what they wanted. I measured myself against her moods, her needs, her silences. I tried to fix what she broke and apologize for things I never did. And all along, I thought love was about proving myself. But real love? You don't have to prove it. You just show up. You stay. You tell the truth even when it's ugly. You don't run into someone else's arms every time things get quiet or boring or hard. She never knew how to do that. But I do. And next time, if there is a next time, I won't be chasing someone to see me. I'll be choosing someone who already does. So here I am. The man she lied to. Cheated on. Gaslit. Abandoned. But more importantly, the man who survived it. The man who built himself back without begging for pieces of her. The man who no longer wants answers. Or revenge. Or closure. Just peace. And he's got it now. To anyone reading this, wondering if you're crazy, you're not. If you're doubting yourself because of someone else's betrayal, don't. If you're in the middle of your heartbreak, wondering if it ever ends, it does. And when it does, you won't feel fire or thunder or cinematic resolution. You'll feel something better. Stillness. And from that stillness, you'll build a life that no one can wreck without your permission. I promise.